All right, guys, so now that our Swan is in our patient, we are going to hook it up to the Hemosphere. The Hemosphere you can set up ahead of time, but you just have to input this information. So for our John Doe patient, we're just going to pick male. Let's say he's 65 with a height of 130 centimeters and 90 kilograms. And then you'll put in your patient ID on top. We're gonna hit next. Because we're using a Swan, we're gonna pick invasive. If you're using a flow track, it would be minimally invasive. And then we're gonna hit start monitoring. It doesn't actually start the monitoring, it just gets us to the screen. So once we hook up our cables, we can hit start. So the cables here, your cardiac output cables, are going to plug in to the red capped cables on your Swan. They only fit one way, so. And it screws on there. So once they're on, we're gonna hit start. Probably doesn't like us because we're not an actual patient. Once you hit start, it'll start a countdown to give you your numbers. Sometimes the counter resets, and that's fine. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of time. So after, a few minutes, it should populate your numbers. There's a bunch of different screen options for you to pick the screens that you want. So with the SVO2 chip, let's say that your physician wants a mixed venous gas or a SAT from the PA port. If you've drawn that number and gotten the lab result, we can take this chip and hook it into the cable. We're going to go to settings, oximetry calibration, and then we're going to make sure it says SVO2. SCVO2 is for a different catheter, and we're going to hit in vivo calibration. It's going to start a countdown. It'll tell you to draw blood, and we've already done that, so we'll hit draw, and then it'll have us enter the patient's hemoglobin and hematocrit and that mixed venous SAT. And what that does is calibrate this, so we'll get a live one and we don't have to redraw it. We're just gonna put in some numbers here. Normal 60 to 80, so let's just do 60 and then calibrate it. Again, it might not actually calibrate it because we're not hooked up to an actual patient, but that's the process for calibrating it.